All right, guys. Let's first start off with some housekeeping stuff. First thing, let me know if you can see my screen. Give me a Y, give me a 1, give me a yes. Let me know if the screen's showing up. Thanks, Bill, Jack. Appreciate that. Good deal, Mike. Appreciate it. Awesome. Looks like most of you guys can see that. I'm showing 100% audience view on GoToWebinar, so it looks like all is good there. Obviously, my sound's okay, right? Am I coming in loud and clear? Is it quiet? Is it too loud? Let me know on that side. Mike sounds good. Bill, thank you, buddy. Alvin, thank you. Jack, Zach, sweet. Cool. Awesome, guys. Well, look, I'm not going to waste anybody's time. We're going to go ahead and get into this. It's not going to be a super long presentation today. It's just kind of the welcome call. Obviously, we all talked on the phone, and most of you kind of know what the plan is. We didn't really go into a whole lot of detail as far as the content that we're going to be covering, kind of what the time frame was, other than that we were starting this week. I just kind of wanted to leave the start date in the air at that point because I knew that I was leaving for vacation, and typically whenever we come back, it's kind of a mad dash to get the house back in order and get back into our lives. So I appreciate you guys being patient and just kind of waiting until we got this training underway this week. I appreciate you casting your votes there in the Facebook group, letting us know a day and time. So let's talk about that first of all. So regarding the content, here's what my thoughts are. You guys can kind of let me know what your thoughts are. My experience with GoToWebinars, the recordings come out pretty crappy. And so my idea or my thought was that I'm going to record my content in video. That way the sound's perfect. You guys don't have to sit through any technical errors or anything like that. And then my plan is to like release that content early week. And then every single week we'll have a get together towards the end of the week on Thursday, Friday, something like that. Probably Friday, since that's what you guys voted on. And then basically that'll give you guys a chance to go through the content, implement the stuff that we talk about, and then you can come and ask your questions about it. Because there's really, when I thought about it, I'm like, there's really no benefit to having the training live as long as we can ask questions every single week about that content. What do you guys think about that process? Bill says it sounds good. True, sounds fine. Yeah, my whole thought behind this was I did a coaching program on reputation marketing back in like August, I think. And there are just some issues with the recordings. They didn't sound that great on the replays, and sometimes GoToWebinar gets glitchy where the screens don't change on the recordings. So it just became a real big pain in the butt, and I wish that I would just have recorded the content, released it, and did the Q&A. So it's kind of learning from my past experience. Yeah, Mike, the Q&As will all be recorded, absolutely. That way you guys can reference that at any time. And I told you guys, too, in our phone calls that my plans were to enroll more people in this down the road. And so I am planning on this Q&A thing to pretty much go on forever. As long as people are interested in this content, and we're bringing new people into the program. So those people, when they come in, will obviously be released the content in the order, that they need it. And then we'll still have the weekly Q&As where you can pretty much come in. Jack said, can we email you or call you if we have any questions before the Friday call? Yeah. First thing, I prefer you to email me or message me on Facebook if we can get it done that way. If it's urgent and we have to do a phone call, that's not a problem. I'll post a scheduling link for my phone appointments inside the Facebook group. That way, if you guys do urgently need a phone call, I don't have a problem hopping on a call with you. No problem at all. But yeah, I prefer first reach out if it's not anything in dire need. I check my email like all the time, as well as Facebook chat. So you could probably get an answer pretty quick that way. So no issues there at all. All right, cool. So let's get this thing started. All right. So basically what you're looking at is Local Lead Mastery, the coaching program. We're going to be talking about getting your lead generation business to $200 a day. We're going to get into this here. But basically, you guys, I chose $200 a day, basically because I know a lot of people aren't making that in their business. You might be making that in your day job. I think a couple of you are that I talked to are probably at that level or higher. Don't need to disclose that to everybody, who those people are, but that's just kind of it's a really good number. It's more than most Americans make in their day jobs. And I know for most of you on the call that if you could get to that level, if you're still working that day job, it's going to provide a lot of freedom to you and the possibility for you to actually quit. You can build this business so much bigger than $200 a day. But if we start off with saying, oh, I want to make $2,000 a day or something like that, it's going to seem like it's a kind of a big goal, right? It's such a long shot away that I think that sometimes whenever we set goals that are too high, even though they're achievable, if we set them too high out of the gate, then we're going to have issues and roadblocks in our mind. So I think $200 a day is a very achievable goal. I'm going to show you guys exactly the outline to get to that today. But that's pretty much where I chose the $200 a day mark from. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, where you are, where you're going. Just kind of did that. I'm going to cover the program content, outline, and timeline. The timeline I kind of covered already. My plan is to just kind of release trainings every single week, and I'll show you guys the outline for that here coming up. And then the last thing I'm going to cover, we're going to go over some recommended tools. It's going to allow you to maximize your efficiency in your business. A lot of you guys from talking to you have some of these tools already. But it's pretty much all the stuff that I'm using in my lead gen business, and I'm just going to recommend that you use them as well. It's kind of what I'm going to be using during these trainings. So if you have them, great. If you want to pick them up, that's fine too. If you want to use something similar, if you say, will this work for this? So if you guys see a tool that I show you and you have something you think is similar, feel free to run that by me and I'll say, yeah, that will work, or no, maybe you should try this or that. Okay, but I would recommend if you have the stuff that I use it. If not, and you're willing to invest in your business, I recommend you pick them up. I'm not going to give you an affiliate link or anything like that. It has nothing to do with the money. I want you guys to use the tools that I'm using because it's just going to be easier for everybody to learn that way. Okay. Thanks, JR. Said to make sure I use small English words. The lead gen terms, yeah, I know some of you guys are at different levels, so I'll be sure to try and explain things. And that's another good point, is if I say something that you absolutely don't understand, don't be scared to ask a question and say, what the heck are you talking about, right? What does that stand for? Whenever I use acronyms and things like that, I'll definitely say what those mean, just so we're all on the same page. But yeah, we'll keep it basement level for sure. All right, sweet. Okay, so let's go on. So first, I'm going to start you guys with a couple quotes. All right. So this one, I'm a baseball guy. I think I told a few of you this on our calls, but I was drafted by the Minnesota Twins. Something that I'll always remember as a very cool experience. But played college baseball, had the opportunity to go pro before I tore my rotator cuff. But baseball is just a big part of me. But Yogi Berra, so he said, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else, right? And so that's why I put that $200 a day goal in front of you guys, because if you don't have that, if you don't know where you're going, then who knows where you're going to end up, right? You might end up all over the place, not even taking action because everything seems so far out of reach. So that's why I wanted you to know exactly where you guys are going, because I don't want you to end up someplace else. I want you to end up by the end of this thing with as much knowledge, as much income as you can possibly create during this program. And I want you guys to quit your jobs. I want you guys to be success stories in local marketing. Such a big opportunity. And I know that if you guys take action, do the things that we talk about during the call, it's going to do a lot for you. Bill says, will Google's latest changes affect anything we will be doing? Yeah, Bill, I mean, all this, Google's always a core part of what we're doing, right? So with lead gen, as we'll cover in a little bit, a big portion of this is with search engine optimization. Google's always changing, so we're going to have to adapt as that happens. But yeah, their big update coming out is mobile, coming up here on April the 21st, I believe. So pretty much all sites that are not mobile compatible are going to get a Google slap. They're going to lose a lot of their search engine traffic. And so that's something that, you know, it's not really an issue for us. It's actually going to help us because a lot of these businesses that are ranking that don't really know what they're doing, they're just ranking just because they've had a site online for a while. a lot of those people are going to start losing those rankings. So it's going to be an opportunity for people like us who actually know what we're doing, and we're going to have a mobile compatible lead gen site. Then we're going to be able to step in and hopefully steal some of those rankings, generate the leads for these clients. Okay. So yeah, absolutely. We'll be talking about some of that going forward. The other quote that I wanted to show you guys here is from Abe Lincoln. And he says, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe." Got it? Does that make sense to everybody? Tell me what you guys think about sharpening the axe for the first 4 hours. You guys believe in that methodology? Do you understand what that means? Yes. Everybody says yes, makes sense. Preparation is paramount. Absolutely. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing, right? So at the beginning, it might seem like we're doing a lot of the building up front. And there's a reason for that, right? Because if we build the structure, if we build the infrastructure out properly in the beginning, then we're just going to be able to scale up, and that's when you start making money. Because I'm going to show you guys here in just a few minutes that lead generation is simply a numbers game. One of the biggest things that I learned probably over the last 2 years is just strictly ROI. So return on investment. It's the biggest thing. It's really the only thing you guys need to worry about. And so at the beginning, we're going to invest a lot of time. For some of you, if you're going to go the paid traffic route, which we'll talk about, you're going to invest some money to generate these leads. But ultimately, we're going to build our infrastructure out up front. That way we don't have to. So we're going to spend the first 6 hours building out our systems and processes. That way that last 2 hours, according to Abe Lincoln, we're going to spend just making a lot of money. Okay. So we're going to prep ourselves. Everything's going to be perfectly laid out. You guys are going to have the exact system. I'm going to give you documentation on step 1, do this, step 2, do this. And once you get to the point where those steps are complete, then I'm going to say, now here's how you take that, duplicate it, scale it out, and now you're going to be able to go out there and just make a lot of money. It's going to, whenever I give you guys this breakdown here in a minute, it's probably going to make you sick, just to be completely honest. So when I first did this, I'm like, really, that's all it takes? And when you see the numbers broken down, it's pretty disgusting that you're like this far away from having a $70,000+ a year business if you're not there already, or adding additional money to your bottom line every single month. So really, really love that quote by Abe Lincoln, and I thought that it really fit the structure of this course well, right? So that's why I shared it with you guys. All right, so where we're going, $200 per day, $73,000 per year. Okay, so I'm curious, I'm not going to say any of this stuff out loud, but in your business, not in your day job, I want you guys to tell me what you're currently making. You can do it either per year, per month, per day. I can do the math on my own. I'm just curious. I want to know where all of you guys are at. I'm not going to read names. I might read the numbers out, but I won't attach it to anybody, so you guys can just guesstimate who's doing what. Zeros, 6,400 last year, sporadic, 120K, 125K, perfect. Very good. Zip. Okay, cool. Yeah, so look, we got some mid-level earners, we've got some six-figure earners, and we've got some newbies. So I like that. It's a good mix. Okay, but obviously you guys aren't doing that in lead gen, or you wouldn't be in this program, right? I think that's the whole point. A lot of the guys that are making a little bit more money probably aren't happy with the way they're making it. Maybe they want a little bit more hands-off, which is pretty much what we're going to be doing here. This is all going to be built passively. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of building things out and having clients knocking your doors down every single day, wanting information and updates. JR, you could probably relate to that. I think you know me well enough there that I don't like to do that type of stuff. But yeah, I like to build things that are passive to where, I can take a 10-day vacation to Destin, Florida, and not have to worry about, am I making money, and do I have clients that are bugging the crap out of me and stuff like that. So the whole idea behind this is to build this up passively, where these leads are coming in, they're being handled automatically, and they're being paid for automatically. That way you're not sending out invoices and doing everything else. It's all passive. Okay. So there's going to be a few business models that I'm about to cover, and I'll show you guys kind of how that all works out passively. So that's a kind of a perfect transition. JR says, seriously, all passive once it's cooking. Absolutely. Once you build it up, it's just going to be a matter of, like I said, whenever we set that infrastructure in place at the beginning, that's why that's so important. Because if you do that properly, then everything can come in automatically. People can be billed automatically using some of the software that I'm going to show you. So a lead comes in, it fits a certain criteria, your customers automatically billed for that phone call or that lead based on the criteria that you put in. Everything's taken care of. Okay, so completely passive. That's why I love it. All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's talk about how we'll get there. So some of the stuff might be boring to you guys, but again, this is whenever you break this down and you can actually see this, I feel like it becomes so much more attainable. Okay, so this goes back to the Yogi Berra quote about, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up somewhere else. Okay, so this is where we're going and how we're going to get there. All right, so look at this. So the first way that we're going to achieve our goal is through pay per lead organic. Okay, and pay per lead organic is basically we're going to be building out our own assets. Okay, so we're building out lead generation websites. These are going to be simple websites that are at most 5 to 10 pages, depending on how many keywords you target, which we'll cover in the content, my recommendations. But that's what pay per lead organic is. So we're going to be building out websites, as many as we can. We're going to scale them up. We're going to rank those websites. And then as they start generating phone calls and web form leads, then that's when we're going to start making money. Okay, so pay per lead organic. This isn't costing us anything as far as paid traffic and things like that. We will have small investments, so you'll have to buy domain names. You'll have to, depending on how you want to build your sites out, you'll need content for your websites. I'm going to show you exactly where everything's written. I'm going to show you how to get your articles made for your websites. You'll have to build some backlinks. You can do that manually. You can use software, or you can do what I like to do and pay somebody to do it. Okay. I'm going to also, well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but let's look at the pay per lead organic side. So $73,000, remember $200 a day basically comes out to 73 grand per year. Okay. So we take $73,000, we divide it by the amount that we're charging our clients per lead. Okay, and then we take that number, divide it by 365, and that's how many leads we need to generate per day to hit our $200 a day income. Okay, now the cost per lead, that obviously is going to depend on the niche that you're targeting, which is something we'll go over in the content. A lot of factors I'm going to give you guys. Most of you probably have this already, but Service Magic has published, well, it's Home Advisor now, but they published their lead sheet basically that states how much they charge per lead. It's probably outdated. I would imagine that the costs have gone up because prices always go up, right? But the sheet we have will at least give you a starting point of what you can charge per niche. And then obviously if you're not doing the home service type niches, then we can talk about what you should charge per lead. And it really just comes down to the average customer value for that type of business, right? So if we're talking about a roofing contractor, and again, I'm kind of giving some of the content, but that's cool. If we're talking about a roofing contractor, right, they might make anywhere from $2,000 for a small repair job all the way up to $20,000, $30,000 for a large roofing project. Okay, and then if you get into commercial roofing, then it's even larger. So do you think that a roofing contractor would pay $55 for a lead that could possibly make them 30 grand, right? Obviously, that's a no-brainer. So the higher the customer value is for the niche that you're targeting, the more you're going to be able to charge per lead. So that's very important whenever you're determining the type of niche that you want to work in. There's some other factors that go into that, which we'll cover, but there's a pretty strict selection criteria that I go through when I choose the type of niches that I work with. All right. Okay, so if we break that down in an example, $73,000 divided by 55. So I just chose that. It's a number that I started charging roofing contractors when I first started. So $73,000, okay, a year. If we divide that by $55 per lead, then we need to generate in a year 1,328 leads. I think it's 27 point blah, 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 some change. So I rounded up 1,328 leads. Okay, 1,328 leads per year is all we need to generate to hit that goal. All right. Then if you break that down per day, it comes out to like 3 point something leads per day. So say 4 leads per day is all you have to generate to make 73 grand a year and additional. Okay. Then obviously you want to make double that, right? So if you want to go, let's see if my math is good, be $146,000 a year, generate 8 leads per day. Double it. Not hard. 8 leads per day. Are you kidding me, you guys? Whenever you see the stuff that we're going to be covering as far as scaling out our websites and the markets that we're going to be choosing, it's pretty ridiculous. The fact is that you're going to be able to generate a lot more than that, but it's a starting point. Okay. Does anybody have questions about the pay per lead organic breakdown? And what are your thoughts about that? I mean, when you break that down on a per lead per day basis, like how achievable does that sound to you guys? Let me know in the chat. Jack loves it. JR says, are these leads that we're selling to a business customer? Yes. These are people that we are generating leads for. Okay. So the $55 here, that's how much a roofing contractor would pay you to generate a lead for them. Okay. So all we have to do is get 1,328 leads sold per year to hit that goal if you're charging $55 per lead. Okay. If you're charging double that, so if you're charging what? I can't even do the math there, $110 per lead. Okay. So if you're charging double that, then you cut the leads in half. So divide 1,328 by 2, and that's how many leads you would have to generate in a year. So it's all, I'll give you guys some worksheets where you can just plug these in. That way you can just plug in your own numbers and you can pretty much set your own goals, right? I just wanted to show you an example of how the breakdown is. Jack says, are these phone call and web form submissions? So let me tell you guys how I do it. So obviously I charge a lot more for a phone call. It's a lot more value. It's somebody that's on the phone with them immediately, right? Versus somebody that submits a web form. So recently I was charging $15 for snow removal web form leads, and I was charging $35 for the phone calls. Okay. And so these are commercial style, snow removal, type of leads. But so yeah, it's really just going to be a breakdown of web form leads and phone calls. So the obvious one you want to go after are the phone calls, and I'll show you when we build our sites out how I put all my call to action focus on the phone call, because I want somebody to pick up the phone and actually call the business because I'm going to make more. Okay, so JR, I was doing $35 per phone call, and then it was $15 per web form submission. Okay. There's a day I generated 43 leads in one market for snow removal. It's pretty nuts. But I'm going to show you guys all that type of stuff. So that's the breakdown of it. Yeah. So I got a lot of yeses. That's all good stuff. So I appreciate the feedback. But yeah, you guys, it's so ridiculous when you break that down on a per lead basis, right? A per lead per day basis. So you can plug in your numbers. Again, I'll give you the worksheet, but plug in how much you want to make. Start with 73. If you don't have bigger goals, those of you guys that are already making 6 figures, you might, want to set a goal for your lead gen business at 73 grand just to start. Because what you guys will see is once you're at that level, you're going to be like, this is so dumb. Why can't I scale this up? Which is pretty much what we're going to be showing you guys. You're going to be able to make a lot more. All right. Let's keep it cracking. So the second way, it's going to be pay per lead with paid traffic. So the pay per lead paid traffic, we're going to be covering a few things on that. But basically what you're going to do is take your cost per lead. So your cost per lead is going to be what you're charging for the lead. So that last case, it was $55. Cost per acquisition. Okay. So you're going to find out with paid traffic, you're going to know exactly how much you have to spend to generate that lead. So it might cost me, and I'll go over the example in a minute, but $25 to acquire that lead. Okay. And then this is basically an arbitrage play. So you're basically waking up each day and you're asking yourself, how much money can I spend? Because once you know your metrics, then it really just becomes an ROI play. And it's like, okay, well, I can spend $25 and make 55. How many times would you do that? Right? You're going to do that as many times as you can. You're just going to wake up begging for Facebook or for Google to take your money. Once you have your conversions dialed in, you have your ads dialed in, which is all stuff that we'll cover. So your cost per lead minus your cost per acquisition is going to give us our net per lead. Okay, so that's how much we're actually going to make per lead, because we got our lead that they're paying us for, how much it actually costs us to get that lead. We got our net per lead. Okay, so if we take 73 grand, our goal, divide it by our net per lead, divide that by 365, and that gives us our leads needed per day with paid traffic. Okay, so if this is the route you go, if you guys know how to run ads and you want to hop on a phone call and you kind of want to jump ahead, that's totally cool. If you want to wait for the paid ad training, then you can do that. But for those of you that are excited and you want to make some money right away, this is the absolute fastest way that you can start making money. Okay, so this example, if we take our $55 cost per lead, so that's what we're charging. If it costs us $25 to acquire that lead, we're making $30 net per lead over here. Okay, so then if we take our $73,000, divide it by $30 per lead is what we're actually making, we would actually need 2,433 leads in a year. Take that by 365, 6.66 leads per day. Okay, and this is with paid traffic. What you're going to love about paid traffic is it's the absolute most scalable thing you're ever going to experience. There's going to be days where you guys are going to be, it's going to be ridiculous. Right now, you might not see it, but there's days that I spent $2,500 to $3,000 in a day. Okay, so that might seem ridiculous to you guys, and I didn't start out that way. I kind of gradually built it up, where I started with $25 a day, $50 a day, $100 a day. And as you gradually build that up and you get that capital and you can reinvest it into your ads. And then once you have that excess in your bank account, then it seriously becomes a game of how much money can I spend today? Like I used to get mad that Facebook wouldn't spend all of my money. Like I would set a budget for the day because I knew that that was producing a certain ROI. And if Facebook didn't spend my money, I was like mad about it. Yeah. Let's see. Mike, you said that you'd want customers buying leads from you before using paid traffic, correct? Mike, we'll talk about that in the customer acquisition model, but the short answer is it depends. So you might, just to get somebody going, right, you might generate a lead for them. So I'll show you guys when we're setting it up, where you can just set up your phone call or your phone tracking number, forward that to a business that you just choose randomly, basically. If you can generate a lead for them, then you call them up and say, hey, that lead that you just talked to, I generated that for you, and then you can just kind of have a conversation with them. So if you want to start getting leads coming in, you can still pay it. Obviously, you're going to come out of pocket a little bit. You wouldn't want to scale it up, obviously, until you had a paying customer. But to start testing some campaigns to see if you can get a positive ROI. So if you know that on average you could probably make $55 per lead, you set up a test campaign and you're making, it's costing you $25, just like I used in the example, then you know that, okay, this is a good ROI play. I can totally do this all day long. I generated a couple leads, sent it to him. Yeah, it cost me $50 out of pocket. Now I got this guy on the hook that's going to buy all these leads from me, basically. So it's totally up to you on how you want to do that, but you can definitely use paid traffic out of the gate just to test the market, see what your ROI is, and then once you get somebody paying you, then you start spending the big bucks. Obviously, you don't want to spend $1,000 a day on ads if you don't have somebody actually purchasing the leads, right? You don't want to send anybody that amount of business. Exactly. Bill said that you've heard LinkedIn ads are more profitable than Facebook due to partly the annual salary of both. Obviously, the people that are on LinkedIn are a completely different crowd. I'll just be 100% audience. I've never ran a LinkedIn ad in my life, so I don't have experience in that. It might be a situation where I can approach some people to come on board. I know guys that spend a buttload of money on LinkedIn. It's just not something that I've explored at this point. So I'm not going to teach you guys something that I don't know anything about, but I'm more than willing to bring in a guest speaker and have them train you. People are always looking for speaking opportunities. So even if I have to come out of pocket and pay somebody to hop on a call, if that's a traffic source that you guys want to learn more about, then I'm willing to do that. That's not a problem. But yeah, cool. So that's the paid traffic way. Okay. And the last thing, there's more ways, you guys, but I just want to focus on 3 because I don't want to get into partnerships and all these different things that you could do. I want you to focus on one of these 3 when you're starting out. Okay, and the last thing is a site rental. I know I've talked to a few of you about this. It's actually one of my favorite models. And so if we break this down, so a site rental, you build the website and you just agree with a business owner to pay you per month for that site. Okay, and so this is why it's going to be really important in the initial build out of your lead gen sites, your assets, to build these, rank them, and then you can approach them. Okay, it's very difficult to go to a business owner and say, hey, let me charge you $150 a month, $500 a month for a website that I'm going to rank, and it's not going to be yours. I'm going to own it. They're not going to be cool with that. Okay, so if you step back and say, okay, let me build this site, let me rank it for 4 or 5 keywords. Once it's ranking, then I can call up that business and say, hey, this website is ranking already for these keyword terms. Would you like me to forward the phone calls to you for X amount per month? Totally different conversation whenever you're selling that way. Okay, so if you try to do it backwards, you're going to run into a lot of backlash, right? You're going to run into a lot of people that just don't want to do that because they've been burnt over and over again. But it's so much easier to sell whenever you have the result already. And I'll show you guys, I'm sure you've seen some tools, but you can even rank your lead gen site and you could actually overlay their website on top of yours so that when somebody clicks through to the search engine, they click on that link, they'll see your client's site that's paying you every single month instead of your own. So kind of a little ninja trick that's been around for a long time. I know a couple of you and I talked about it. Bill said Rent-A-Serp. Yeah, Rent-A-Serp actually doesn't work anymore, but there's a tool that we can use. But yeah, that's the idea behind it. Basically just puts an iframe over your website, and you can put whatever website you want on there. But that's I actually like to use that as a closing model. So whenever I call a business owner, I'm like, hey, how would you like for me to put you on the first page of Google? They get that all the time. If you could say, what if I've already done it? So you take your site that's ranking, you use this plugin, put their website over it, tell them to do the search. Whenever they actually go in and click on it, they're going to see their website and they're going to be like, holy hell, what just happened? How did that happen? Right? They're like, that's not my URL. So how's my website here? Okay. So it's just kind of a little closing type thing for client acquisition. But let's break this down. Okay. So $73,000 cost per site. And again, we'll talk about how to determine what you can charge. And it kind of goes back to the whole cost per lead thing. It's really dependent on the businesses that you're going after. So if you can break it down and say, a roofing contractor makes $3,000 per roofing job, and they're paying me $150 a month. So let me pull out my handy dandy little calculator because I don't like to do math, if it'll even show up. Can you guys see my calculator? So 150 a month times 12. Okay, so they're basically paying $1,800 per year if it's $150 a month. So if you just got them one lead for the entire year, it pays for the website. Okay, so, and that's kind of the way I'm talking to you guys is kind of how you need to get in the habit of talking to these business owners. Because whenever you talk to them and it's strictly about business and you break it down, like you need to ask them important questions. How much money do you make? Because whenever you use their answers to close them, like they can't say no to it. Because if they just said, if you said, how much money do you make per roofing job? They say $5,000. Okay. You say, all right, well, I have this site that's ranking for these keyword terms. Okay. These keyword terms are already ranking. I'm going to ask you to pay me $500 per month for this website, which is $6,000 per year. Okay. You just told me that you make $8,000 per roofing job. Don't you think that out of the entire year that we're going to get you one job by ranking for all those keyword terms? They can't say no. They really can't. I mean, it's stupid. And then you could go a step further. It's funny. I can't help but teach whenever I'm going through this. I can't just read off the slides. So I hope you guys don't mind. But whenever they're going through, you can even find people that are already paying for ads for those keywords, right? So if you go through, you get a site to rank for Aurora, right? Aurora, I think that's in Illinois, Bill, right? But if we get a site to rank for that, you can go approach the businesses that are advertising for the keywords that you're ranking for. So you go type in Aurora roofing contractor, find the businesses that are already paying for ads and say, hey, you're paying for this keyword already. I have a site that's already on the front page of Google. So why don't you just pay me every month instead, right? Because they're paying probably $15 to $20, $30, $40 per click. That's just somebody clicking on their ad. And a lot of the click fraud and crap that happens, I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer type of close. Yep. JR says, yep, wow, absolutely. Yeah, so you guys, there's all kinds of closing stuff we'll go over. Not going to go a whole lot into that, but if we break this down, I'm signing out of Skype. Hang on a minute. Should have did that beforehand, but hey. So if we break it down, we got $73,000, okay, divided by 150. So that's the amount that you're charging per site. Okay, so it basically means that I need 487 sites. Okay, is that right? I might be doing the math wrong on that. I think that might make it per month. Yeah, I did the math totally wrong on that. So don't mind my math there. I'm not a mathematician. I'm a marketer. So that would actually make, if you had $487, if you had 487 websites times 150 a month, you're actually making $73,000 a month. So that it's totally wrong. So completely ignore that, right? So yeah, we'll just ignore that. But you guys can pretty much do the math, figure out if you want to make $73,000 a year. Okay, do the math with how much you're charging per month to figure out basically how many sites you need to sell in a day. But it really is a minimal number when you're going the site rental model. Okay. So probably the proper way would be $73,000 divided by 12. Okay. So I need to make $6,083 per month. Okay. And then I divide that by my 150. I really need 40 websites at 150 a month to make my yearly income of 73 grand. Okay. So not difficult at all. So how is that for some on the spot math, right? Anybody mad at me for doing bad math? Yeah, Mike, you put it in there before I saw it, buddy. I minimized the chat. Woohoo! Chris gets a passing grade. Actually, I got an F in Algebra 2. I had to retake it like 2 times, but but this is like first grade math, so I don't know. It doesn't really count for my excuse for failing Algebra 2. But yeah, so as far as those 3 monetization methods, I mean, are you guys confident that you can get to $200 a day pretty easy? When you break it down to 4 leads per day if you're doing organic, you break it down to 6 or 7 leads a day if we're doing paid traffic, and then 40 websites total at 150 a month to make 73 grand a year. Not difficult. Alvin says it looks easy. Jack says, yes, I think so. Yeah, you guys, at this point, you don't see the roadmap yet, so it might seem a little bit harder than what it's actually going to be. But just look at those numbers and like ask yourself, can I sell 4 leads per day? Okay. And when I show you some of these numbers, let me pull up a spreadsheet for you guys real quick. Let me know if you guys can see this. I'm going to give you guys this spreadsheet. Can you guys see this, this spreadsheet? Mike, you said acquisition is the hard part. You're totally wrong. It's not at all. The easiest thing I've ever sold. Okay, so as far as this this spreadsheet goes, so again, kind of getting ahead of myself, but basically the method we're going to be targeting, we're targeting cities between 50 and 150,000 throughout the whole United States. Okay, we do this because there are a lot more of these, and they're so much easier to rank for. Okay, a lot of people, they go out and they say, okay, I'm going to target the top 50, you know, in the whole United States because that's where all the search traffic is. Right? And that's complete bullcrap. Okay. So if you just look at cities that are 50 to 150,000 for every single state in the U.S., 704 cities. That number right there. This is the population for those 704 cities. 54,243,674. Yeah. So do you want to go after the top markets where all the traffic is, where when you're doing paid ads, you have to pay an arm and a leg because all these idiots are advertising for themselves and they don't know what they're doing? Or do you want to go into these smaller markets where people aren't advertising anyway, just because people in smaller markets typically aren't that savvy? Silliness. Yeah, Bill says it's impossible to rank in the top. Not completely impossible, but a lot harder than I want it to be. I can put up a website in one of these markets and have it ranking within a week to 2 weeks with no content and no backlinks if I wanted. Like, it's ridiculous. And they generate leads. Have one. I think you guys have all seen the paintless dent repair site that I put up. That thing is, I think, it generated 4 or 5 leads this week. It's set up for 10 different cities in Indiana, has no content on the website besides a sales video, and it has no backlinks, and it's generating leads. Stupid. Okay, so if we target these 704 cities, we got 54 million people that could be looking at our stuff. Okay, so there's no need to go after the top 50 in the U.S. The top 50 cities in the United States only have 46,795 people. Got it? The top 50 have that. So this is where all the competition is, and there's less people. So let's go where the competition's not, where we can rank practically overnight, spend less on ads if we're doing paid traffic, and target more people. Okay, a little bit more work as far as the amount of sites and stuff we have to build out. But let's say that you went after one niche. You built a site for every single one of these cities, 704 cities. Do you think you could generate 4 leads a day out of 704? Let me know in the chat. Give me one, give me a yes. Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. Now, 704 websites, don't start doing the math. Okay, 704 times $10 per domain. I'm going to have to spend $7,000 on domains. We're not doing this overnight, okay? I'm giving you guys the foundation. I'm going to help you build out your initial set of them, and then you're going to be able to scale that as you start making money so that you can reinvest into your business. Okay, so don't look at this and say, oh, I have to build that before I start making any money. I'm not going to approach a client until I got 704 websites built. That's stupid. Okay. Yeah, Zach, you're getting all this stuff, man. I have so many more spreadsheets, documents where you're going to be able to fill out those formulas to put your numbers in. You're getting everything. Absolutely. This is all yours. So yeah, I go through in each tab on the bottom. I got all the cities for every single state. They're all listed here for you. Okay. And then I'm going to explain how to use this. I have a video that's going to cover all this stuff, exactly how I use it in my business. But yeah, everything's here for you, every single state, with the exception, I think there's 2 or 3 states that actually don't have any cities that are between 45 and 150,000. Okay, so yeah, but this is that's all your guys's when the time comes. All right, cool. So what do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that now, after seeing that and kind of a sneak peek into what we're going to be targeting, how you can generate 4 leads a day easily? Give me a yes, please. Give me a 1. Give me a heck yes, a hell yes, whatever you want. That's totally cool. What hosting recommended level wise? Bill, I have a couple things, and it's kind of a technical thing, so I'll cover that in another training. But I have a shared hosting account with Bluehost where I have like 90-something sites, and then I have a dedicated server with Liquid Web, and that one. What's going to happen is once you get to a certain level on a shared hosting account, you're going to get a warning from your hosting that you have too many files. And then once you have that, then you just basically need to create a new account. And I'm at like 90 something, and I'm getting pretty close to that level on the one hosting. So you could probably fit 80 to 100 sites, depending on how much content and stuff you have, on one single $4 a month hosting with no problem. So yeah, it's not a big deal. Cool. All right. Yeah, and you get into dedicated servers and stuff, it's kind of complicated. I really don't even understand it, to be completely honest with you. I hate the hosting side. It's like the one technical thing I can't wrap my head around in this business. So I'll do my best to explain what I know about it. But yeah, it's really not difficult. It's just I don't get in there and do it enough. In my Bluehost account, I can log in and bust this out in like 2 minutes, but go into my Liquid Web account and it's like, what the heck am I doing? Like, it's totally different than what I'm used to seeing. But it's all good. Cool. All right. Well, let's keep moving. Just about finished, you guys. Again, not going to go into a whole lot, but let's talk about some of the content. Okay. So we're going to start out with niche and market selection. Again, the niche selection, I'm going to kind of teach you guys my thought process behind everything, kind of what I go through. The market selection, I pretty much just showed you that. Okay, so the market selection stuff, we'll have a video on how to actually use that. It's where we'll give you all those documents that you need. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's 45 to 150,000. And the reason is simply on the organic scaling side so that you can build those up and rank them with pretty much no work. The one that I'm getting the most calls on, that paintless dent repair, is in Fishers, Indiana. And it's like, gosh, I don't even know what the population is, but it's one of the fastest growing suburbs in Indianapolis. But I mean, that site, I put it up, 0 content on it, and the thing's generating leads. It's so stupid. So whenever you guys target these right markets, right niches, you're going to be able to generate the leads pretty simply. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how to actually scale this up. So I'm going to show you some tools, some resources that you're going to be able to use if you want to outsource that. And then basically once, I should have put scaling quickly kind of after this. So site building and duplication. So the duplication portion of this is kind of where we're going to scale it out. So I'm going to show you guys how to build kind of the bare bones of your website. And at that point, that's kind of when you're going to take your initial group of sites and you're going to duplicate it out. Okay, so you're going to actually build out the whole structure of the website. The structure of the website, I'm talking about how things link to each other, siloing basically. So a lot of you that are familiar with silo structures, it's basically just a way to interlink the content in your website. That way, when you have a backlink pointing to your website, that link juice, as it's called in the SEO world, flows all the way through your site, and it basically doesn't leak anywhere. Okay, so it's just a way to kind of maximize all the pages on your site. So what we're going to talk about is kind of building that out, scaling it, and then you'll go in and add your content. Okay, so we're going to pick a certain amount of sites initially to build out, and we're going to actually put the content on the sites. But you don't want to build a whole site with the content, everything, then duplicate it, and then have to change the content, okay? Because you don't want duplicate content on your websites because Google looks at that badly. Now, there's some SEO experts that say duplicate content doesn't matter in local search. I found that to be untrue in some markets. I did the whole duplicate content thing in the wedding catering niche, and initially it worked great, and then just it completely went to crap. So like I spent all this time building these sites out and duplicating them with the same content, and then they pretty much just sunk, right? So the way I'm going to teach you guys, I think, is a lot more long-term. And so that's what I want to build for you guys, right? I don't want you to do something that you're going to work hard and you're going to lose everything overnight because you were lazy up front and we put the same content on 700 websites, right? So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to show you where to get your content. But my point was we're going to build out these sites properly, just the link side of it, okay? And then once they're scaled, these sites are not going to be published, and then we're going to add our content to them. So that's all stuff that we're going to be covering in the training. Talk about the on-page SEO, search engine optimization, okay, for anybody that doesn't know what SEO is. And siloing, again, I explained what siloing was. And then link building and the pace of links. So in the link building side, I'm just going to talk about the types of links that I build and when to build them. It's very important to actually go out and have a certain pace of your link building. Because what you have to think about, and again, I'm kind of going into some training, but around search engine optimization, if you look at it from Google's eyes, okay, it's like, what is natural? If I was a business owner and I made a website, am I going to make a website and then the next day have 50,000 links pointing to it? Let me know in the chat if you think that's going to happen. Let me see if you guys are paying attention. Jack, no. JR, probably not. Yeah, unless you have a website that like goes viral. Like there's I don't know if you guys saw that website where you can like send glitter to your enemy. So if you hate somebody, like you can send an envelope full of glitter to them, right? And that went completely viral. Not too long ago, and the site sold for like 500 grand or something on Flip. It was stupid. But yeah, so there's little things like that that go viral, and you might have a lot of links pointing to it in a short period of time. But for a typical local business, if you build your website, over the next day or week, you're not going to have 10,000 links pointing to your website. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to talk about the proper way to build your links, the proper way to build the anchor of those links. So the anchor text is what that link actually says. So that link could say, click here. That link could say Chicago Roofing Contractor. That link could say ChicagoRoofingContractor.com, HTTP, blah, blah, blah. There's different ratios of what those anchor texts need to be. And we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the pace of actually building those links out. Okay? Let's keep going. Then we're going to get into video creation, optimization, and ranking. So in addition to our websites, we're going to have videos that are ranking. So we're going to take kind of the same methodology behind our lead generation business, and we're going to do it with video in addition to our websites. Because there's no reason that you can't get a video to rank in those markets very easily. Probably even easier than your websites, and we're going to be able to create those, put our tracking number on the videos as well. And if someone performs that search, watches our video, sees the phone number and calls, then we're going to get paid for that lead as well. So the idea is to almost blanket a front page as much as we can. So out of the 10 listings in some of these markets, you can get 7 or 8 of those, right? If we're targeting with multiple videos, websites, Web 2.0s, which are your Facebook pages, your blogger, things like that, okay? Which, again, might be getting ahead of myself for some of you, but we'll cover all that, so don't worry about it, okay? So optimizing your video the proper way, actually ranking it. There's certain things that you can do after the optimization process. Then there's link building to videos as well, just like there are to our website, and there's a proper way to do that, okay? Bill said 76,794 in Fishers. Yeah, so kind of back to what I was saying about that city. So yeah, that's ranking, pulling in leads in a city that's roughly 77,000 people. So not a tiny city, but it's generating leads. So if you have, 700 of those, then how many leads are you going to be able to generate? GR, could it be done by only using video for your content? There be any video to that? Are you talking about just putting a video on a website, JR? I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. Okay, you said yes. It's possible. That dent repair site that I have is literally has a video on it, and it has links, no content, with the exception of, like, if you want to lease this site or you want leads, call me or something like that. Zero content. So it's possible. I don't recommend it, actually. I just kind of built it as a test, but I really don't think it's a long-term strategy because Google wants content on your websites, but it's possible. But you can rank the video directly in the search engine, so there's no reason why you can't do the site and the videos. All right. So moving on. So then we're going to talk about PBN building. So this is kind of a long-term thing. I didn't get into PBNs probably until about 6 months ago. I just kind of put my head in the sand and said I'm not worrying about it, just because I didn't want to deal with it, and I just kind of thought that it was kind of a flash in the pan type strategy. But I'm realizing that it's very important, actually. And for those that don't know, PBN stands for Private Blog Network. So this would be, in addition to your lead gen sites, these would be sites that you own and maintain strictly for the purpose of building links to your lead gen sites. All right. And so your private blog network, so just imagine these, you own these random domains, and we'll talk about how to buy them, the proper way to do that, where you can get it outsourced to if you'd rather just pay somebody to build it for you. I've got that for you too. But basically what you're going to be able to do, instead of going to somebody and paying them to do your backlinks, now you have your own network where you can put your own backlinks on your own sites pointing to your lead gen sites. Okay, so a little bit of an explanation on the PBN side. Talk about call tracking setup. That might not be in the right place there, but the call tracking, basically whenever we build out your site, we're going to be putting our call tracking numbers in there. How many of you guys are using call tracking right now? Let me know in the chat if you're currently using call tracking or if you have in the past. Okay, Mike says no. Come on, guys, let me know. Who's paying attention out there? Bill is, Alvin is. All right, there's 3 people. Keep her going. Jack says, do you use call tracking on site that you just rent? Yes. Jack wanted to know if you use call tracking on a site that you're renting. Yeah, because you're still going to want to be able to prove to that business owner that it's worth their time. Okay, so there's 2 things. So if you're just renting your site and you don't do the whole overlay thing where you're putting their site over the top of yours, then yes, you're going to use it. If you're putting their site over yours, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I really like to use that as a kind of a closing strategy. But then I explain to them, and I kind of position it as it's going to be cheaper for them if they use our site. Again, we'll talk about that when we talk about client acquisition. But yeah, so I do, excuse me guys, I got a little bit of a frog in my throat. But yeah, so we will be using call tracking on our rental sites as well, because if we know that they make $8,000 per year and their 1-year contract is coming up and they think about canceling, I'm like, dude, we sent you 40 leads throughout the year and you paid $1,800, right? Did you not close 1 deal out of those 40 phone calls? Okay, so it's a way that you pretty much keep the leverage in your hand whenever you set up call tracking. All right, Jack says, great. Bill says, I'm also with Google Voice for free. Yeah, Bill, I have a Google Voice number too. It's definitely one option. Just I don't like it for this purpose, just because there's less reporting options. You can't integrate it to have billing automatically happen when a phone call happens. So it works for some things. I wouldn't use it for lead gen. Jack has the call tracking software, but he's new to this. Yeah, so there's a few softwares. It's kind of transition into what I use here in a little bit, but I'll talk about that. But okay, so a couple of you guys are, a couple of you are not using call tracking. No big deal. Then we're going to talk about retargeting integration. So this is a form of paid traffic, but there's no sense in not having this on your site. Okay, even if it's just Facebook retargeting. Basically what retargeting is, it's the little ads that follow you around the web, right? You've been on Amazon and then you go to Facebook and that thing you were just looking at on Amazon shows up as an ad in your news feed or on the side. Yeah, that's retargeting. Okay, or you go to a website for, I don't know, whatever. And then I think I go to, there's something, I forget the website, but every single time I go to our local newspaper's website, I see retargeting ads for all the websites that I was just visiting. So it's like kokomotribune.com. If I go to that, I always see ads for websites that I've been on. So basically, we're going to set that up on your lead gen sites. Okay, so if somebody hits your site and they're interested, right? They wouldn't get to that site if they weren't. Then we can actually follow them around with ads if we want to. Just an additional way that you can generate some extra leads. The traffic is very cheap, so there's no sense in not doing it. So we'll talk about setting that up, and then you guys can use that in several ways. That's the thing too. After this is over, I want you to be able to take some of the stuff that you learn, like the paid traffic stuff, and then seeing how you can kind of expand your business, expand your offerings. If you want to get into e-commerce sales online, you can use paid traffic for that. So I mean, it's going to be very detailed as far as getting traffic. So then it's just like, okay, I know how to get traffic. Now what can I sell? Okay. Once you have those 2 things, you can pretty much make whatever you want online, whether that's with local businesses or strictly selling things online. Okay. But not getting sidetracked in that. I just want you guys to know to start thinking about this from, okay, there's multiple ways that I can use the stuff that I'm learning. All right. All right. I'm about out of breath. All right, so then we're going to talk about lead pricing and packaging, how to actually price those leads. If you want to sell packs of leads, how to do that. Client acquisition again. We're going to be talking about marketing sequences and scripts. I'm going to give you the scripts that I use. I'm going to give you marketing sequences you can use through email or direct mail. A lot of you guys might have these. This is some of the stuff that I've released in a couple products. But these sequences, especially the sequence I have for lead gen to sell leads to contractors, it works unbelievably. If you're willing to send out a direct mail piece, this direct mail sequence that I have to sell leads is stupid effective. It targets the basically the people that are buying leads from Home Advisor. And it just talks about how crappy their leads are and how mad they are that those leads suck, but they don't have any other options until now. So this marketing sequence was designed to really just stick the knife in their gut and twist it about how sucky their home advisor leads are. And it freaking rocks for getting phone calls back. Okay. I'll also talk about using voice broadcast. That's something that I did in the early stages. It still works very effectively if you're looking to scale up, but you can get a ton of callbacks just by recording a message and blasting it out to a bunch of businesses. Okay, so we'll talk about some of that in our client acquisition and marketing sequences and stuff. And then really the big thing here, paid advertising, Google, Bing, Facebook, and then niche sites. So if we're the niche, obviously Google, Bing, and Facebook, you guys can figure out what those are. As far as the niche stuff goes, if you're in the roofing niche, I'm going to show you how to buy ads from roofing websites, basically to put those ads in front of those contractors. So you might find contractor forums, contractor associations, things like that, where you can buy email drops. You can buy banner ads and put those right in front of those businesses and say, hey, need roofing leads? You know that the only people on those websites are roofing contractors. Okay, so those people are going to be clicking on that and they can get more information. Okay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit too. That's it as far as the content for the most part. Obviously, those are just kind of high-level overview type things. We're going to go into a lot of detail on all those. It's going to be quite a bit of stuff. My plan, you guys, is just to release as much as I think you can possibly handle in a week, because I don't want you to be delayed in having all the information. I know a lot of people learn a lot quicker than others. So for those of you, I don't want you to draw it out for 6 months of all that content whenever you could have taken that in 2 months and ran with it. You know what I mean? I kind of did that on the reputation side. And again, it's something that I learned from as far as the coaching side goes. This is about the end result. Okay. It's not about how much time we spend together. It's not about, how many calls we do. It's really about the result. Okay. I'm sure that if I can get you guys to that $200 a day mark, you don't care how many times you talk to me or how long it takes. Oh, I paid $2,500 and I only got to spend 2 weeks learning from you, but I got my result. You're not going to care. Okay. Versus if you say, oh, I want to talk to you for 6 months, or I want this training to last for 6 months. Why? Right? Absolutely doesn't matter why. Okay. It matters about the result. Okay. And so that's what my goal is. This whole thing is about the result. I've learned a ton from doing these things in the past, and that's what we're focusing on. It's strictly about the result. Is that cool with you guys? Right? Do you just want me to give this to you as much as I can? Like, obviously I'm not going to dump everything on you in 2 weeks. I'm going to give you guys the content that you need, and then we're still going to have our weekly calls. So I'm not saying those are going to stop. I'm just saying the content portion of it, you're getting what you need when you need it. It's not going to be, here it is, it's structured, it's going to last for 6 months, and then, you can go. Okay. I want you guys to make as much money as you can in as fast as time as possible. So that's what it's all about. Okay. We got fair. Yes. Cool. ROI, buddy. That's right, Alvin. Bill says good. Awesome. Okay, guys, so recommended tools. Let's just talk about this real quick. This is pretty much the last slide that we're going to cover. You guys might have some of these things. So we got first the Rockstar Biz theme. Let me pull up the Rockstar Biz theme for you so you know what I'm talking about. All right, here's that paintless dent repair site, by the way. But I'll just show you what this site looks like. I've tested a lot of lead gen sites, and this thing converts like crazy. This is actually the first time that I've used a sales video on a lead gen site, so I don't know if it's the theme or if it's the video. But this theme, I think it looks really good. I've looked at a lot of lead gen themes, and a lot of them look kind of chintzy, but this one looks really good. I think just at a glance, I like how it's kind of widescreen. It boxes in, and it has a mobile compatible site. So this portion right here that you see on the left, this lead gen form actually becomes the mobile website. So whenever they hit it, it's strictly a lead mobile website. Okay, so you hit this, and it'll have, if you have a video on the site, it would actually take that and it puts it underneath the form. And then it's got your call to actions, your call to get an estimate at the top and at the bottom. So whenever you look at this on a mobile, let me see if I can pull up a mobile, see if it detects it. Google Mobile Checker. By the way, if you guys haven't seen this, this is Google's own built-in tool now because they want business owners to have their mobile sites. So paintlessdentrepaircompany.com. I'm just going to analyze that, and I'll come back to it in a second. But yeah, Alvin said it's bold looking. But yeah, here's the content that's on this site, you guys. So check this out. So there's a before and after image. Get a quote. All this stuff is built in, by the way. You pretty much just put the text that you want. I made this logo. You can get a logo made for $5 on Fiverr. Couple bold items up here. It's got call us for an estimate, call us for an estimate, call us for an estimate. At the bottom, call us today. Okay, so you can see it's all call us, call us, call us, call us. And then there's this. I actually haven't got a single web form lead off of this, but it's generated like 40-something phone calls, but not a single web form lead, which is interesting to me, but hey, I don't really care. Okay, so these calls are going to a dent repair company called Pro Dent International. So don't call them. Jack says, is there a click to call button on the mobile site? Yes. Yep. The very bottom phone number is clickable and it pulls right up into their phone. Absolutely. So I like this, and it allows you to link to social if you set up a social account. But look at the content of this. So it's got the page title with the link. Are you looking for a paintless dent repair company in Kokomo? Okay. This is actually using a cool program called Geotag or something like that. It actually inputs their city right here. So if they're in Rocheville, which is nearby Kokomo, it wouldn't say Kokomo, it would say Rocheville. So if you go to this, it'll probably have your city in there. Okay, which is a cool thing that I could show you guys how to do if you want to. But look, if you're Indiana Paintless Dent Repair Company, call us to increase your leads this month. I need to take that off of there, but it's still there. Again, this is all the siloing structure and all this, but there's basically nothing here, right? There's no content on this website, no article, no nothing. If I click on Fort Wayne, right, it's got the exact same call to action up here. It's got an image and it's got a map, and that's it. No content. How stupid is that? And it ranks. Let me pull up that.
Hey, thanks for visiting our
where's it going? All right, there's this is on autoplay too, by the way. But I'll show you guys how to make these. Let me go back to the presentation, wrap this up. But we'll show all this stuff in the training, so no sense to go over everything at this point. So the Rockstar Biz Team, that's what we just looked at. Analytic call tracking. This is the call tracking software that I use, and this is what I like about analytic call tracking is it's self-hosted. Okay, so there's things like CallFire, other programs where you can log into someone else's website, check your call tracking. But I found analytic call tracking to be the least expensive because they're not marked up. So it ties into Twilio, and Twilio is just kind of like the back end, right? Imagine analytic call tracking is the user interface, and then Twilio is the back end where all the data is coming from. Okay, but you buy your numbers at cost, you buy your minutes at cost. So it's like $1 a month per phone number and like a penny per incoming minute or something silly like that. So your costs are very minimal. I think there's a lifetime, a yearly, and a monthly option for analytic call tracking. But what I like about it, again, you host it on your service, on your own servers. So for some reason, if I was using CallFire, for example, and they decided to shut the doors down and go out of business, I lose all my stuff with their business. Okay, versus this, if it's on my own hosting, then if analytic call tracking goes out of business, at least I still have my software installed. I have my phone numbers, nothing like that I have to worry about. All right, Source Hunter. Source Hunter, whoa, where'd we go? Let's get back here and current slide. Cool. Source Hunter is basically a keyword tracking program. There's several out there. I don't really care which one you use. This is actually a new one that I started using. So it's the one that I'm going to be showing you guys. I found it to be very easy to use compared to some others that I've done. But you can look that up. It's by Alex Becker. If you guys don't follow Becker, it's somebody you need to pay attention to if you're in lead gen, because he's pretty much an SEO genius. Some things he says I don't agree with, just based off of things that I've done and I've tested that don't match up with what he says. But for the most part, he's pretty spot on with a lot of his stuff. But his tools are pretty awesome. So Source Hunter would be that one. And again, I'll give you guys links for all these whenever we get to that portion in the training. Majestic SEO. So Majestic is basically where we're going to be doing a lot of competition research. It's where we're going to, when we get into like our private blog network training, it's going to be very important for checking certain metrics to make sure we pick the right type of websites. Okay, so Majestic is going to be very important. Again, we'll talk about that as well. I think there's a monthly option for that. White Spark, I use this strictly for local citations. So this is something, they have a tool that basically you can put in a URL of a competitor. So let's say that you're trying to rank for paintless dent repair in a certain city. You can type that keyword in that city, and it's going to pull up the top citations for the top people that are ranking for that keyword. And then you can go out and get those same citations. So for those of you that don't know what a citation is basically your name, address, and phone number. So just think of it, it's kind of like a backlink, okay, but it's your whole like business profile. Okay, so think of sites like Yelp, Google Plus, Local, City Search, Yellow Pages, directory sites that have your business name, your business website, your business phone number, your business address. Okay, and whenever they have all those things, it's called a NAP, name, address, phone number, NAP. And once you get more of those that are pointing to your website, it really, really helps with local rankings. So we can find what those top citation sources are for the people ranking for the keywords that we want, and we can go out and get those as well. They even have the ability where you can outsource it to them. I actually don't recommend you do that. I have a resource that provides very good citation building for you, and it's all manually done. They do audits, all kinds of stuff that I could recommend for you as well. But White Spark, I think they have an option. It's like $20 a month, nothing too crazy. Scriptdoll. So Scriptdoll is a copywriting software. Okay, so that little video that you guys saw on the Paintless Dent Repair site, okay, I'll show you how to make that, but there's copywriting that goes into that, okay, and it's made by Ben Atkins, and Ben has some very cool local lead gen templates in there, and you basically, it's literally it asks you questions about your offer. So I'll have a whole training on this of how I would do it. But if you guys want to use that, and it'll basically spit out your sales video for you, then you just have to go in and record the voiceover or pay somebody, which again, I'll show you how to do. But if you have a very professional ballpark style voice like Jerry does in the group, then you can make your own if you want. I personally think I sound silly on a video, but I record mine anyway. I'm just getting used to the sound of my voice, I guess. It's funny when you hear yourself when you're talking so much different than when you're listening to yourself on a video. But anyway, so that's what Scriptdoll is. It's pretty much a copywriter builder. It builds sales copy for you for videos or sales pages. It's very awesome. So definitely recommend you do that because, again, I mean, this is the only thing that's on this site, and this has to be what's driving the phone calls. Obviously, I use sales videos in all my online marketing. This is the first time I've used it on a local lead gen site, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So definitely recommend that. And the last thing is SendWire. I've done a promotion for SendWire. This is with Joe Troyer. Joe's a very good guy. He's actually who I was introduced to local lead generation from. He was the first person that even introduced this business idea to me. I kind of just took that and ran with it. But he has a software. So SendWire basically builds social signals or social backlinks to your sites and your videos. So if you're not interested in outsourcing to somebody else and you want to bring it in-house, then SendWire would be a very good software for you to have. All right. So yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it. Hour and about 10 minutes, so not too bad. Definitely need to get myself a drink, go to the bathroom, all that type of stuff. But what do you guys think? Are you guys pumped up? Let me know in the chat if you guys are ready to roll. Jack says yes. Mike, absolutely. Bill says homework. Bill, we don't do homework. Come on, dude. Alvin says ready to do it. No, so homework, obviously, you're talking about the content. So my plan is early this week to start releasing that content before our call next Friday. So I'm going to set this on a recurring thing. That way you guys don't have to re-register every single week for these calls. You're just going to automatically be registered for the weekly Q&A. And then I'm going to start basically posting the videos. So you guys will all get logins to a membership area this week, over the weekend probably. I'll get you guys all set up with your account inside the membership area. That way you can log in. You'll have access to all the training as it's dripped out to you there. Okay. And then again, if for some reason you're advancing a little bit faster and you're like, Chris, I want more content or something like that, just let me know. I can hop on a call if there's a stumbling block you have, or you just kind of want to get through a certain part. I can hop on a call, get you through that until that content's released at least. Okay, so yeah, that's what we'll do. Bill says he'll send it out. I'm not sure what you mean, buddy. Oh, you want to do some work for me? That'd be cool. Alvin's ready to do it. Perfect. Jared needs to watch this video again. Not a problem, Jared. It'll be recorded and posted. I'll get that. I'll probably set this up on a temporary page for you guys if you want to watch it or rewatch it over the weekend. But yeah, we'll have all of these coaching calls inside the members area as well, so you can access those at any time. But yeah, let's wrap this up, you guys. I'm excited about it. I just kind of wanted you guys to kind of know where we're going with this first one, because like I said, you signed up about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just didn't want you to feel like nothing was happening, right? So just give you the plan of what's happening, where we're going. And we're going to rock this out. I'm excited for you guys to get some results. I know that once we get these things built out, you guys are going to start making money and you're going to be posting it in the group. And I'm going to be pumped about it. And hopefully you guys don't mind if I share your successes to sell the program for more in the future, because that's ultimately my plan. Just to be completely honest with you guys, I want to get you guys results. This is the first time that I've done the lead gen coaching, which is really stupid now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, it's the local service that I'm the most passionate about and honestly the most knowledgeable about out of everything that I know in local marketing. It's a long time coming, so I'm just excited to finally get this out. Been meaning to do this for a long time. So you guys are getting in for a lot less than anybody's ever going to in the future. I can promise that. It will, like, I know a lot of people say that when they're selling stuff that, oh, this is the only time you're going to get it at this price. But seriously, the only time that it's getting out at the $2,500 mark is with you guys. Bare minimum, I mean, we're talking $4,000 to $5,000. The plan is $5,000 and up eventually. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys got in when you did. And yeah, appreciate that. Alvin said, glad I'm finally doing it. Yeah, you guys are going to benefit from it. So you should be very glad. It's going to be awesome. But cool, guys, let's wrap it up. Unless you have any final questions for me, let me know in the chat real quick. But yeah, let me know if you guys are pumped about it. Give me a yes or a pumped or let's do it or something. Give me something before we sign off. Yep, awesome. Go, go, go. Yes, yeah. All right, cool, guys. Appreciate it. All right, well, let's wrap it up. Best email, Jack said, I'm chrisbeatty@gmail.com. So I am. Here, I'll just type it here. Actually, I won't. I'll put it in the chat. All right, so I'm chrisbeatty@gmail.com. Gmail.com. Send. There you go. You guys should have that in your chat. But yeah, I'm chrisbeatty@gmail.com. Reach out to me there anytime. Facebook, honestly, is probably the easiest and quickest way to get me. Always on my phone or have my chat up. So either way, you guys, let's do that. I'm looking forward to getting this thing underway with content. So look out for that early next week, and let's rock this baby out. So this is Chris Beatty signing off. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll chat with you guys next week. All right. Cool, guys. Take it easy.